beyond this mortality into the eternities, there will continue to be those tried and true measures that the Lord deploys to ensure that before he bestows upon us the truth and the light and the knowledge, the intelligence of being like him, that we will have proven true and faithful in all things. And simply put, we are not doing that in this life. We are doing a lot, and there's a lot we are qualifying for. However, there is clearly things to be done and opportunities to prove true and faithful after this mortal plane is over for us, that will then eventually qualify us for exaltation. So maybe something we'll delve into a little bit later on, maybe a Gospel Mysteries podcast or something like that.
Quite the soapbox you found there for yourself.
Sorry, that was completely unintentional, but an important point for members of the church.
I got him back on it.
Oh, what? Oh, yeah. So you shouldn't have said anything, but just this idea that exaltation, because I've gone to the temple and made covenants, is like guaranteed. Bro, slow your roll. Like, that is not the case, right? And I think we can probably outline some pretty good specifics and nuance if we should do a Gospel Mysteries around this at some point in the future.
So, returning to angels and spirits, we talked about the craziness of angels being resurrected personages. Let's talk about spirits for a second. You're either a resurrected angel or you're a spirit waiting to be resurrected, not yet resurrected. Those are the two options. So if we preach a pre-existence where we were spirits, spirit children of Heavenly Father, where we were in heaven as spirit children, this indicates that we were spirits not yet resurrected, not yet attaining to some degree of glory. Unfortunately, that glory seems to have been the telestial glory that we attained to, but we're here nonetheless doing our part. But that's the point I'm trying to make. If you really think about just these two concepts of angels and spirits, and then you take these definitions and you layer it over, the doctrine of the pre-existence, the premortal life, you have to start asking questions. Well, how did we, if a spirit is a person of some degree of glory waiting to be resurrected, waiting to receive a body, then, well, what does it mean to be spiritually begotten? How did you become a spirit? What does it take to get into that state? And the homework would be like Mosiah 5:7, right? How does one become spiritually begotten? I think that's a gospel mystery episode all of itself as well. But the point I'm trying to make is these little revelations seem simple when you just look at it because they're short. They're just these stream of conscious ideas that Joseph Smith was just pumping out, but they're so profound. Oh, I think it's gonna be a long episode, bro. That was slide 1. Okay, let's talk about sacred handshakes. 129 also refers to the doctrine of proving or testing messengers, angels and spirits. So it gives a definition of angels and spirits. And then it says, when a messenger comes saying he has a message from God, offer him your hand and request him to shake hands with you. If he be an angel, he will do so, and you will feel his hand. If he be the spirit of a just man made perfect, he will come in his glory, for that's the only way he can appear. Ask him to shake hands with you, but he will not move, because it is contrary to the order of heaven for a just man to deceive. But he will still deliver his message. If it be the devil, as an angel of light, when you ask him to shake hands, he will offer you his hand, and you will not feel anything. You may, therefore, detect him. These are 3 grand keys, whereby you may know whether any administration is from God. Thank you for watching. If you found this content spiritually enlightening, please like, comment, and subscribe.
Like the gospel, these little things make all the difference, and it helps the algorithm push out better content for everyone to enjoy on YouTube.